The next thing that I'll show you how to do is to tube feed the babies. And there's two different kinds of tubes that will be available to you. This one is available to you over the internet and is probably slightly more desirable because it's clear, it's the clear silicone, it's a little more flexible, a little easier to work with. It has a different tip on it, and the type of syringe that you'll need for this is sold with the tube on the internet, and it just screws in like this so that you have it all set up for tube feeding. The other type of syringe that you'll use is more just the tapered tip, plain tapered tip. KV Vet Catalog sells it. It just slips into here and then you tube. And as you see, it's not as flexible, but it's still very desirable and less expensive by about half. This one is about half the cost of this one. They're both fine and completely acceptable. For purposes of our video, we'll use this one because it's already got the little markings on it. So we'll get the puppy and we'll get the food prepared, and then I'll show you how to pull the food into the tubing and how to prepare your tube. When you're ready to tube feed a puppy, you'll lay the puppy on its side. Use your fingertip and feel down to its last rib, which is right there. Hold it in place. Bring it along what would be its imaginary, canal there. Bring it to the mouth, and there's the mark that you would make. Now we'll show you again using the other tube because it goes kind of quick, and I want you to be able to see it for sure. I marked this tube the other night. This is a baby that we had to tube feed the other night when he was a little blue. You bring your thumb there to the end of the rib, put the tube there, hold it in place with your thumb, and then just kind of bring that tube around, even if the baby's wiggling. Bring it up around like that. This is a bigger puppy now. And mark it right there. And that's how far down your tube will go. The trachea, which will lead to the lung, isn't nearly as long. It'll stop at about the level of the elbow. So if you put the puppy in a little stand position, if that tubing, see there's quite a lot of difference in the length there. So as long as the tube goes down to the full length of the mark you made, you're good, you're safe, and don't worry. The main thing to remember is make the baby cry. Now we'll move on and I'll show you how to fill the tube in the syringe. Warm the S-Black, goat's milk, whatever it is that you've chosen to use. Warm it in your microwave for 5 or 6 seconds, and it should feel just slightly warmer than the air. Just slightly warmer. 90 degrees is fine. You can use a thermometer if you need to. You can use a thermometer to check the temperature. Make sure you don't get it too hot. And then you just pull it into the syringe using the end of your tube. And then hold your tube like this. Your goal is to get all the air out of the syringe and to get all the air out of the tube. You can see the bubbles. Now you just push that forward until nothing but pure milk is coming out of the tube. Now you're ready to do the tube feeding. This puppy is obviously a healthy newborn puppy. Pink, movie, plump, not dehydrated, and not needing tube feeding. But for purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to show you how to tube feed this puppy, even though he's not a puppy who's really a candidate for tube feeding. The tubing won't hurt him. You just hold him in your less dominant hand. In my case, it's the left hand. Put the tube in at the back of the throat, just about here. You'll see him start to gag and resist. You just keep pushing the tube in. Past that point, you've hit his swallow point. Now he's all the way to the mark, and you just put the tubing in with the syringe and hear him crying. That means you're not in the lung. If he's crying, He's not in the lung. He is good. I'm just giving him a small feeding because he's been nursing. Now, when you're finished, crimp the tubing closed and pull it out fast. Now, puppy got a little bit of a feeding. He's fine. He survived it, went in all the way to the mark, hydrated him just a little, and now I'll put him back with his litter mates.